All right, y'all. So Revelation chapter 12. So starting in chapter 12, Revelation takes a detour from the step-by-step narrative of the end times. The events described occur over a wide variety of years, including past, present, and future. In the course of these visions, seven main figures are described. Five of those appear in this chapter. The next two chapters will continue to fill in the details. Chapter 15 adds another version of heaven, and chapter 16 will return to a more chronological depiction of the last days. This passage typifies the grand symbolism found in much of the book of Revelation. John sees a woman clothed in the sun, crying out in pain as she gives birth. Willing to kill her child is a red dragon. The woman symbolizes Israel, the dragon is Satan, and the male child is Jesus. The male child is caught up to God, a reference to Jesus' ascension after his resurrection, and the woman is able to flee into the wilderness. Revelations 12 1 through 6. Next, John observes a war in heaven where Michael, the archangel, fully casts Satan out of heaven. This is not a depiction of the initial fall from Satan according to the Old Testament books such as Job. The devil was still able to access heaven and accuse humanity before God. At this point, however, he will be entirely evicted and thrown down to earth. This results in rejoicing in heaven, but also a dire warning. Now that Satan is running out of time and confined to the earth, his rage will be taken out on mankind, especially Israel. Whoa. Revelations 12 7 through 12. Jesus predicted an abomination of desolation in Matthew 24 15 and 16. There, he most likely referred to a defilement of the temple by the Antichrist. Jesus warned that people ought to respond to this act by fleeing to the mountains. Here in Revelations, the people of Israel are given supernatural protection by God, symbolizing the reference to wings, and able to survive for a period of 3.5 years, echoing other prophetic messages about an invasion by a northern enemy, Ezekiel 38. John also sees the serpent attempt to wash the woman away with a flood of water from his mouth. This would symbolize an armed invasion. God again protects the woman with what Ezekiel said is a tremendous earthquake. Ezekiel 38 19 through 22. This enrages Satan, who commits to attacking the offspring of the woman. Revelations 12 13 through 17. The five figures mentioned in this chapter are the woman who symbolizes Israel, the seven-headed dragon who represents Satan, the male child who is Jesus, Satan himself as the fourth figure, and the offspring of the woman, referring to the people of Israel. The following chapter will introduce the last two major characters who are among the most infamous of all scriptures, the Antichrist and the false prophets. That's interesting. Okay, so preceding verses, just chapter context. Preceding verses have brought us to the middle of the tribulation, after the seal judgment and very near the end of the trumpet judgment. Now the focus shifts to symbolically introducing a series of important figures. These are mentioned in various years, not as part of the early chronology of Revelation. This passage relates to Matthew 24 15 and 26, Isaiah 16 1 through 4, Ezekiel 38, and Joel 1, describing invasion into Israel from the north, and Revelation 9 identifies the invading army as demon inspired. Revelation 13 continues to describe the major end time figures, focusing on the beast, also known as the Antichrist, and the false prophet. So, my other breakdown. Revelation 12 symbolizes a cosmic battle between good and evil, primarily through the imagery of a woman, a dragon, and a male child. The woman is often interpreted as representing Israel, Mary, or the church, gives birth to a male child who is destined to rule all nations. The dragon, identified as Satan, attempts to devour the child but fails. This chapter highlights the ongoing conflict between God and Satan, the persecution of God's people, and the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom. The breakdown. The woman in Revelation 12 is a faceted symbol. She is often seen as representing Israel, the nation of Israel, which the Messiah Jesus was born. Mary, the mother of Jesus, who played a crucial role in his birth. Yes, she did. The church, the collective body of believers who are persecuted by Satan. The dragon is identified as Satan, the devil, the ancient serpent, who is the arch enemy of God and his people. The male child is Jesus Christ, who is destined to rule all nations with an iron scepter. The cosmic battle. The chapter depicts a spiritual war in heaven where Satan and his angels are defeated and cast out of heaven. Persecution and protection. The dragon, Satan, persecutes the woman, Israel, Mary, or the church, and her offspring, believers, but God protects them, especially during the time of tribulation. Triumph of God. Revelation 12 ultimately points to the victory of God and his kingdom over Satan and his forces. So, in essence, Revelation 12 is about powerful depiction of the ongoing struggle between good and evil, the role of Israel, Mary, and the church, and the ultimate triumph of God through Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, it just keeps getting better and better. Gooder and gooder. But yeah, y'all, that is chapter 12. I cannot believe we have reached chapter 12. It just amazes me how, I don't know how I thought this was going to go, but it's going, y'all, and I'm having a grand old time learning and sharing at the same time. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys later.